A brief update on the Phil Schofield drama here in the UK, including the many different layers at play. So the newspaper headlines are full of Scof. This is very handy for the newspapers. It's very handy for Piers Morgan because right about now there were fingers pointed about phone hacking. So it's in the Sun's interest and Piers Morgan's interest to talk a whole lot about Scof because it's better than talking about things they may or may not have done themselves. Then over at GB News, you have Eamonn Holmes coming out punching, which is sort of epic because it was him and his lovely wife Ruth who tried to talk about this a long time ago. Now, GB News wanted to hold on to this scoop for themselves. They told people it would start at 9 p.m. Of course, they held Eamonn back until 10 p.m., which basically turned off a whole bunch of people who might otherwise have engaged in a conversation. Then you have Dan Wootton. Dan Wootton has sort of enabled himself as some sort of high priest on the moral high ground, handily forgetting that he was very much leader of a mob that came for Caroline Flack. So in terms of being holier than thou, Dan Wootton probably isn't a name you would associate with that kind of behaviour. Now, Phil Schofield, you would have thought, would be hiding in a ditch, being very, very quiet, saying nothing, just kind of trying to pretend he doesn't exist. Oh no. He's out on Instagram saying that ITV was a very happy place to work and that runners and others couldn't be more delighted to be working on the show. So he's still in for the fight. In essence, all very undignified, all very kind of unnecessary, and a very long way from the actual questions that need to be asked. Like, is it acceptable that someone comes out as gay in order to hide their alleged crimes or their alleged behaviour towards a young boy? Is coming out as gay, is that really acceptable? People on the right, people like me, we often get called homophobic, though we're not. To me, it seems like one of the most homophobic things you could ever do, which is to come out as gay to try and hide your own behaviours. That, to me, is utterly disgusting. I think people then trying to be better than this. I'm better than this conversation. So you've got people on Instagram saying, I've been approached by so many people to talk about this, but I won't because I'm better than that. All the while wanting to indicate to people that they are part of it and they are very much, a voice that should be consulted, but they're better than engaging in the conversation. Well, if that was true, why do you need to post on Instagram that lots and lots of people have been asking for your opinion? And then also the outrage over people watching the Eamonn conversation on GB News, people outraged that they had to watch GB News. I'm watching this filth. I can't believe I'm watching this filth. I can't believe I'm joining the bigots at GB News. Yes, you are. And don't try and tweet about it like you're better than GB News or you're better than the people that normally watch GB News or this is too low for you somehow. Yes, you are watching it because you're interested, because you want to hear. And guess what? The reason you're looking at it at GB News is because you can't hear about it on any other platforms because the mainstream media is complicit in the cover-up. And the mainstream media that you choose to watch normally because it's more suited to the perfect person that you are isn't talking about this because the mainstream will always cover up for the globalists and the paedophiles and the people who are dragging our society into the gutter. And those are the people you think are better than the rest of us. Anyway, just a little summary there about what's going on with Phil Schofield.